Now, right off the bat, you don't want to create an overly complicated green team structure, but it's important that within your green team that you have one person who serves as the chair or the leader, one person that within the organization that people can come to, or that within the group can be tasked and charged with making the decisions. But as you see in this slide, one of the first things that chair or that leader of the green team wants to do is they want to delegate. You want to find out what are the 3 activities that we want to take action on. So for example, in this slide, you see 3 different activities here. And what they've done is they've said, okay, well, the chair is going to delegate who are the people to work on these different issues. And it might be because they're passionate about it, or it might be because they have the skill set or the authority to work on it. But really you want to have the chair who's organizing it, but you really need to delegate and have specific projects and activities taken out by different members of the green team. It can't all be on the chair at all times. So how do you get started? Well, the easiest thing is to hold a kickoff meeting. Let's say you're within an organization that doesn't have a green team. You know what? Just start one. Put some flyers in the break room. Post something on the company's intranet or Facebook page. Find a way that when you're doing this kickoff meeting that the green team is aligned with the mission statement of the organization, what you're trying to do. Put out the ask. What are the roles and responsibilities you're looking for and how often you want to meet? Hold that kickoff meeting and have that in there. Second, make sure you understand the company culture. I talked about that before, but you got to realize how is sustainability perceived and how does change actually happen within the organization? And make sure that you get that baseline and that grasp. So when you're starting your green team, you're not trying all these pie in the sky ideas, but you're coming up with ideas of what's worked with other change initiatives within an organization that you can model after. Diversity is a great one. People say, well, show me the business benefit of sustainability. Well, you can go back to them and say, how could you make the business case for diversity off that? People know we needed it. They knew intrinsically that it was going to have benefit and value to the organization, but you couldn't necessarily put a dollar figure with it. Or you have a preventative policy, like a sexual harassment policy, where it's a risk, but you don't know exactly when the risk is going to happen or what the dollar consequence of it is. So you want to find out what worked when you were trying to initiate those change initiatives within the organization and model your green team and your sustainability initiatives after those. And assess the organization's sustainability efforts to date. Inventory what's already happened, what's already been tried within the organization. Have you already had a successful commute trip reduction program or, a way that you've moved away from paper? Where are some things that you've already done? Inventory what actions you've already taken. And then also look at and assess what are those low-hanging fruit opportunities that you could have where you can get some quick wins and identify what some potential barriers might be to success. From there, then you can create your SMART goals, and along with timelines and expectations. I like to say, make sure they're aligned with the company's culture, have some small, some medium, and some large goals. What are some low-hanging fruit things that could happen, tomorrow that don't cost anything? What are some things that could, really make a difference where if there's a little bit of budget and a little bit of time commitment? And what are those large goals? If you want to revamp your whole HVAC system within your company headquarters, that's a big ask and a lot of money, but that might have the biggest impact. But maybe you don't want to bite that off in year 1 or year 2. You need to assign tasks and hold people accountable. If you want your green team to be successful, everyone has to buy in. Again, that's when I was going back to saying you need to be selective. You need to have somewhat of a decree that, hey, if you're joining this team, this is what you're signing up for. Granted, you're going to turn some people away who say, well, I don't want to have to be held accountable. I get too many other things in my job. Well, if you don't want people to be held accountable, well, the success rate of your green team is just going to be like any other initiative when people aren't accountable. It's not going to be very high. Lastly, you want to make sure you track performance and report it out. It's, there's no good in just being humble as a green team. You want to baseline where you are, look at the actions you've done, see what the results are, and then you need to tell people about it. Because if you do that, then you get more people engaged, get more people excited. That would be a way to get management authority, to get some budget, to get people to get out of your way. So you need to not only just do the activities, but you need to track performance and report the progress over time. Now, there are a gazillion things that you could do within an organization, and depending on, you as the viewer and what organization you're coming from, whether it's a nonprofit, a for-profit, a government entity, there are low-hanging fruit examples everywhere. And so I'm just going to reference here, I think one of the best green office guides is the city of Portland. They put one out and they just have a list of all the things you can do within an organization's, offices, and you can start there. Get some low-hanging fruit wins. Find things like, duplex printing. It doesn't cost anything. I love to give the example of, we were working with a law firm where, the office manager was just totally obsessed with how much paper was being printed and copied. So at night, he worked with the IT manager, and they just switched all the printers and copiers to duplex. So if someone could always go back and they could change it back if they wanted to, but by changing just the default settings, they cut paper usage by 40%. Didn't really cost anything, no one really noticed, and it had a direct impact. So look for those low-hanging fruit examples where you can get wins.